Broncos are the better team. I can't say it any other way.
I don't really think everybody knows what they're about to witness.
I know talent when I see one. I should be an NFL scout.
Jonathan, I don't like that pick. I love that pick.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. And if you clicked on this video, you saw that title, Big Announcement. And the announcement is that Dorm Debate is going to be going on the road this week for Sunday, 3:30 game. And it's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. Yes, we'll be going all the way to Kansas City, Missouri to see Patrick Mahomes deal it out with Jonathan's favorite player, Josh Allen. It's going to be awesome. Going to be amazing. Comment down below if you guys are going to the game at all, and we will see you guys there. We'll have some orange beanies on because we assume that it's going to be chilly, very chilly in Kansas City. Yep. So we're going to have orange beanies on. You'll know where to find us. But yeah, so we're going to go to that game, and it's going to be a ton of fun. We're super excited to make some content for you guys since we'll all be in person. So we'll make a vlog and everything. I mean, I feel like there's endless things we could do for content-wise. So great for you guys watching, and we're all super excited to see a great game. Last year we went to LA. We saw the Chargers and Dolphins. Super exciting game with Tyreek Hill, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. So now we're going to another star-studded competition with arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. It's going to be so much fun.
Right, and, we might be in the presence of someone else, too.
Who's that?
It is in Kansas City, so...
Oh,
yes. Who knows?
A T-Swizzle sighting.
Someone,
okay.
So, who knows?
Who knows? Maybe John will sneak his way up there. And,
Never know.
Yeah, who knows, man? She might catch your eye and be like, she'll be like, "Oh, can you get that guy down there and
bring him up here?"
We will be on the opposing side of the stadium in very bright orange to some extent. So, might, what are those construction workers over there doing? Definitely people should definitely follow us on the Instagram if not already, because that way we'll post stories if people want to come up say hi. Would always love to see it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're gonna be posting content, so make sure you go follow us. Link will be in the description. But yeah, so let's get on to the actual video because we got to react to some games. They were close games, but a lot of them weren't kind of meaningful, I would say. The two that we're going to talk about are the 49ers and Eagles and the Texans at Broncos. I can't wait to get to that Broncos one because people were just chatting up. John, when I posted that TikTok of you talking about Russell Wilson, I mean, I can't wait to get to that segment. But the first one we got to talk about, and we just got to rip the Band-Aid off, K-Load. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, I mean, a mere 20 minutes ago, the 49ers demolish the Eagles in Philly 42-19. 42-19.
Strong. Do you think demolish is
It was a domination.
That's what Siri said when I said who won between the 49ers and the Eagles, and it said 49ers demolished the Eagles in Philadelphia. So
that's pretty good.
Let me say this. I have known to be a Brock Purdy hater, but as John and I were watching the game, I just couldn't help but give him his flowers and say that he played an amazing game.
No.
Jonathan, come on. You want to say it.
Dude, they had more players make plays. That's it. Debo Samuel, all these guys.
Did Purdy not put it in the hands?
No, he didn't do it. Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. That's why they won. Simple. Point blank. Drive. That's why they won.
The MVP,
what about Ayuk's touchdown? Was that all Ayuk?
Dude, he has the easiest job in the world. He has the easiest quarterback job in the NFL
I agree,
today.
John.
We all know it.
I agree. But going into Philadelphia, he started the game 0 for 4, and it looked pretty grim. He finishes the game 19 for 23 with 4 touchdowns. I mean, at some point in an environment like that, yes, he has all the weapons in the world, and I agree with you.
All the weapons.
But in this specific game, he impressed me because he could have folded, and he didn't. John?
He can't fold. Even if he tries to fold, he can't fold.
What do you mean?
Debo Samuel's going to make a play.
Did he not have bad games? Did he not have bad games?
Hey, it's basically not fair. They just had. Hey, that's just what happened.
Haven't you seen him have bad games?
I haven't seen that.
They lost 3 straight.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, those games he played extremely terrible. He can get away with playing a bad game and let them win.
What do you mean? So you're saying in this game he just played average?
Yeah.
His passer rating was nearly perfect.
Dude,
it's like Garoppolo, though.
He has
like,
the easiest job in the world.
But...
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's not fair.
If it was that easy, then Garoppolo would still be
was
there.
a good quarterback, but I mean, how can you watch the game and walk away not like championing McCaffrey #1 and probably Ayuk and then the O-line? And I will say,
but what about Trey Lance though? So you're saying Trey Lance is so bad that he deserves not even to be in the NFL if he can't?
Well, you have to at least be able to throw the ball. Trey Lance, he wasn't confident. He wasn't confident enough to throw the ball.
So this is a lot of what ifs, you know.
Well, wait, let's start to dissect this a little bit. So first, Caleb, tell us your point of view from the Eagles. What are your thoughts after this game and looking forward? Because now you're going into the Cowboys game in Dallas next week, and that's prime time. So after that Kansas City game we're going right in. We're going to sit down, eat some barbecue, and we're going to watch that game in its entirety because there's a lot on the line for that game. So you guys, if you lose that game, now you're looking at a tie with the 49ers and Cowboys, three-way tie. You might lose the division, might lose that first place bye. But I know it's only been 20 minutes since you lost, but what are your initial thoughts right after that game?
Yeah, it hurts, man. I mean, the Eagles were underdogs, and I posted the video about how I was very surprised.
Surprisingly.
Right? Like, I won't be too long because I like your guys' takes on the controversy with whether Purdy, because people said this about Hurts being in quarterback-friendly offenses, but putting that aside for a moment, as an Eagles fan, yeah, this hurts. I went into this game knowing the 49ers took a lot of it personally. The Eagles took it personally. There was some ejections too. I think our head security
Dom,
big Dom. So it was testy, and it's like I think obviously stemming from how the 49ers went out last season, but even in the I believe in there's Eagles fans can be rough, you know. So 49ers come from a very different part of the country, so I think there's that tension there already. But hey, the 49ers are a good team. I think the Eagles. I've said this for a few weeks, and I say this to Philly friends: we can't keep consistently playing crap for 50% of the game. Like often our first halves we're trailing, which is like, in one sense, we've said this is good for a team to get the grit, to have the energy, morale, like the Chiefs of last year in many ways, to be able to overcome adversity. You want that. You don't. I think those wins, as was said last year, are more important than teams constantly blowing out opponents, i.e. the Cowboys. Like these close wins are better for teams in the long run, in my opinion. That being said, I did raise flags over the past few weeks, and especially today in the light of it, a good team like the 49ers will exploit that. And that's what you do, because we can't consistently give up half of a football game and expect to just come back, because that's what we do. The Eagles, we got to patch up. We got to change some of the way we're scheming or like hiding plays, whatever it is. We can't be that inconsistently or consistently bad in the first half, only to then like make some corrections and make a big change. Because then teams like the 49ers, who are a very well-rounded team, very good team, will run the ball more, start to chew clock. And it's still raw. It's definitely evens out the top of the NFC a little bit. So we'll see. They're a good team. I give them a lot of respect. And I said this on my video, which I posted Saturday as well, talking about the underdog status. Over the past few weeks in particular, that three week to bring it back to you guys, that 3 week span, or where they lost a couple, 3 game span, they lost a couple, slowly starting to think like Purdy's legit in some respect. Not saying he's top 10, I think he's probably in the most quarterback friendly scheme in the NFL that I can think of off the top of my head. But over the past few weeks, I'm slowly saying like, no, he's making some passes and some decision making, and his style is looking really good. You can't just put it, even in quarterback friendly stuff, you can't just put a stump in there and expect it to do well. Like he's doing things that are like slowly starting to pique my interest, and I said that on the video.
Some systems
but it's
some
also,
systems
I think
are
it's
just
a bit of a
easier
check down
to
merchant. I use the word check down merchant. Like a lot of the in the game against the Eagles, I'll let you go in a second, Jonathan. I'll give it back to you guys. how many times is it to Ayuk and Debo or McCaffrey on like a 5-yard out or something?
And then they take it the rest of the way.
I want to look at the numbers of the gap.
Yeah, but
Oh,
okay,
boy.
Like
then
that-
why aren't you
that's-
game planning for that? If it's
No, yeah,
always
they
like
should.
Debo takes
can you
it
do?
like 60 yards, like
You
then
can,
why
but-
don't you
no, but-
why don't you game plan for
No,
that?
you're allowed to have that as a scheme and allowed to use that. But to say like he's throwing his nice dimes as a Mahomes or
Yeah,
or
exactly,
even
like-
Allen on his good days or Hurts, like I think it's a quarter. The numbers are great, and that's why they're Garoppolo. Like Garoppolo had great numbers, but was anyone ever in the league being like, oh, we fear that man specifically against others? Like not quite.
Yeah. I mean, for the 49ers, it's simply speed and space. You get your playmakers the ball in space and let them go to work. And Purdy really doesn't have to do much. But what I'm saying is he started 0 for 4 in this game, and he could have maybe lost some confidence, maybe turned the ball over. And that's where some inexperience at quarterback could show through where, okay, I'm Brock Purdy. All I need to do is get it to our playmakers in space. But if I turn the ball over, now I'm costing my team the game. And simply, him not turning the ball over is a good game for him. But he did it a little extra when he went 19 for 23 to end the game with 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's near perfect completion percentage to end this game in Philly. I mean, this is a rival, basically. The way Debo chats shit about your secondary, it's basically a rivalry at this point.
How'd this happen? Like,
Yeah,
it's
like-
not our fault. Like,
Usually the player that talks shit is supposed to lose, right? Because you talk
Usually,
to her
but
like that.
Debo. I think Debo. Maybe he knew that the secondary wasn't as good, but they exploited it. But I don't think they win this game without Purdy. I think they needed Purdy to have that sort of like confidence and comfortability in the pocket to sling it. I know it was only checkdowns. I know it was just throws across the middle. But in an environment like that, we've seen plenty of other skilled quarterbacks falter and fail. John, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it. I still think Purdy is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think he's buns. I think he's definitely a franchise guy, unlike some of you might think. But
saying to us or to those listening as well.
yeah,
We've gotten a lot of heat for our tier placement.
yeah, and I still think he'll prove everybody
He's not
wrong.
elite yet. He's not elite yet.
Not
he's
elite yet.
franchise.
You said franchise.
He's franchise.
Okay.
He's definitely a
Okay.
franchise guy, and we'll see throughout the rest of the year and in the playoffs him perform well. Dak, I've been pinning him against Dak, and Dak has a great last 5 games, but we'll see what happens come playoff time. But yeah, I mean, like Jared, you said, not a lot of teams have been able to go into Philadelphia and win like this and play like this. So you got to give him some credit. You can't just say that it was all receivers. He did do something. I mean, you can't just, every time they win, you can't just be like, oh, he never gets credit. At some point, you got to give him credit.
That's fair.
Yeah, you can give him credit, but like, let's tone it down a bit. Like Shaq always says. He said that about Luka one time. Let's tone it down a bit, okay? This is an easy system to be successful in. Let's just call it how it is. Not every NFL system's the same in terms of offense. He is the star player. Debo Samuel's gonna make a play. Christian McCaffrey's gonna make a play. Oh, if he doesn't, give it to Kittle. Come on, guys. Let's not overhype this guy. Yes, he's better than he's about average. I'll say he's average. But let's not make it seem like he's an MVP candidate compared to Dak or Mahomes or something like that. No. And so it sucks being the Eagles guy because like, what can you do? What can you do if Debo doesn't make a play? Christian McCaffrey's gonna make a play. If you try to shut down Christian McCaffrey, then Debo's gonna make a play. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, but they lost
nothing
3 games somehow.
Hey.
So you got to
some of the players
defenses did.
Injuries
some
were
of
a
those
big part
players
of
are
it.
injuries. Exactly, injuries.
Okay, so that's it. They were injured. So now they're not. So they can't lose. That's it.
Yeah,
You're calling them
and so,
world
yeah.
champs. They're never going to lose again.
I mean, it's
Well,
tough. It's tough.
Any team can be beaten on any day, and it's like the same. I think that's why in those particular schematics, we don't go too much into. I'm not saying I know enough about it, but like things like screens, checkdowns, passes over the middle are coincidentally, and maybe why they match up really well with the Eagles, really good ways to get out of a very bad blitz, even if it's a 4-man blitz. Like the Eagles are capable with their D-line, and like watching the game, it's frustrating, but you got to give a little credit that Eagles D-line was penetrating the pocket a little bit, and Purdy kept his
He's
cool.
escaping.
I'm not, and I said in the beginning of the season that I needed more of a sample size. Like it was too early to hate on him. too early to put them on a pedestal. I think I'm the Eagles fan, so I'm like, yeah, I give the respect the 49ers deserve. And I will add, we were without Goddard, I believe, and I think the Eagles. I mean, we'll see what it look. We'll see what we look like in the playoffs. I think Adam Schefter posted something. 49ers have had 10 days to prepare for the Eagles today. I'm paraphrasing. The Eagles are playing their third game in 13 days. And now we're including the overtime win against Buffalo last week. And it was a game last week, but 3 games in 13 days versus the 49ers having 10 days to prepare. That you won't see that kind of, and this is an excuse coming from an Eagles fan, but you won't see that kind of gap in the playoffs, you'd think.
Unless if you widen out, whatever you want, zoom out. I couldn't think of the word. If you zoom out and you look at your schedule the last couple of weeks, this was the battle at midway, the midway point of your Eagles season. You had to face the Chiefs, you had to face the Cowboys, you have to face the Bills, you have to face the 49ers, you have to face the Cowboys in Dallas. That's the last step. And then you basically have an easy schedule. You face the Giants twice, Seahawks, and I forget the other team, but this is your last step. If you can get through this stretch, say you beat the Cowboys next week, and you only lost 1 game out of that long stretch, then I think that's a win for you guys. I think that's a huge win because you guys could have easily lost 2 or 3 or even close to all of them. So honestly, to get just 1 loss out of there, if you can come out of this with 1 loss, that's a huge win because it may secure a first-round bye for you guys. And that's the most crucial thing for you guys. You don't want to add additional games onto a playoff run, especially the way Hurts went out with that concussion. He did come back, but who knows if he – I mean, the tush push is taking a toll on him. Who knows? But you want that first-round bye.
Did you guys see the injury that he took, though? It was –
I didn't even see it.
Okay. You did – both of you didn't?
Nope.
I don't know. Then maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one, but yeah, I mean, he got cleared for concussion, and that's its own conversation. But if it's the injury I'm thinking where he did get banged up and went to the sideline, and from what I remember in the game, there wasn't another play, and then it was that after that injury that I'm referring to in a second, that's when he went to get evaluated. It was just a very hard hit, but it looked like it hit the shoulder. Now, from one angle, it did look like it could have been helmet to helmet, but I don't think it was. But explains why he's back. But you're right, like all of our calculations into the Eagles are moot if that man is out for an indefinite time. But yeah, we're Eagles are very battle weary. So I still give respect to the 49ers because it's an excuse, but it's still something that's a factor that you won't be in the benefit to the 49ers come playoffs.
And also
and the Eagles with all those wins, I know you go in a second, Jonathan. Next week's game will be a tough one against the Cowboys, how well they play at home. But the Eagles managed to get a couple more wins that now you're just starting to look at. Even with a loss next week, there's still breathing room for the Eagles to recover. So,
well, there won't be any breathing room because they'll be tied.
Well, then you look at tiebreakers and strength of schedule, and assume the Eagles can win those. So that's kind of more. Yeah, it wouldn't be more like the stretch that we've been in of A grade teams. We'll and the Giants can still win, Seahawks can still win, but that part of the schedule will be over, like you're saying. Now, Jonathan.
Yeah, like. Can you guys remind me who did the 49ers play last week? Were they on?
Let's see. The Seahawks.
The Seahawks. See, guys, and that's the thing. We have to keep this in mind. The Eagles could be a little bit like worn out from the past few weeks. They had to go against the Bills, went toe to toe.
That's what you're saying.
And so let's not get too carried away with this huge win, right?
The Eagles went to overtime.
The Eagles went to overtime. The Eagles, they've been battling these past few weeks, so let's give them their props. And they said they face the Cowboys pretty soon as well. So it's not easy on their end. They're still number 1 in the NFC, and I think the 49ers really wanted to win this to prove something, even though like the past few games, they haven't played too competitive a team like the Eagles, right? The last competitive game, honestly, I can't remember it, honestly, and so congrats. They won this game, but like at the end of the day, the Eagles are still the king in the NFC.
So let's look forward to the Cowboys game. It's going to be primetime Sunday Night Football in Dallas. The last game as we've heard from Jonathan over the last freaking 5 weeks, Cowboys should have won. Eagles got lucky. Now that you're at the home stretch of this brutal midway point for the Eagles, they're beat up, they're tired, they're going on the road. I'll start with you, Jonathan. What do you expect from this game? Are you expecting a dominant Cowboys win, or is it you think it's going to be a dog fight?
It's going to be a dog fight. Okay, last week the Cowboys went toe-to-toe with the Seahawks. They ended up winning, but their defense didn't play as great as we expect them to play. But I think the Eagles, all their games have been most of the games except the 49ers have been a battle, and I think it's going to be the same way. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and the Cowboys will end up on top. The Cowboys have so much confidence over the past few weeks, okay, and their offense can score against anybody. Their defense can step up to the plate, but sometimes, you saw last week where they struggle. I know Deron Bland, he's gonna get another interception for sure. Okay, this guy's a beast. A pick six, probably.
He made history. That was I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but I was it's crazy.
Yeah. The Cowboys are gonna win. Okay, the Cowboys. I think they have it all figured out now. Dak has confidence. He's playing well. This is the best I've seen Dak ever play, honestly. He's playing really well.
Yeah.
So CD is showing he's reliable. Our tight end, Jake Ferguson's playing good. Tony Pollard's playing well. Great O-line. Offense, nobody can stop us. Nobody can stop the Cowboys off. I'm just worried about the defense. Hopefully they don't lay an egg like they did against the Seahawks. But if they do, I still think Cowboys will pull on top. Nobody can stop their offense. I don't care what the defense the Eagles have. They can't stop the Cowboys offense. Nobody can.
Caleb, what are your thoughts going into the Dallas game?
They certainly can. The Cowboys are a great team. They're playing like it too. Now, as your friend Jonathan, I hope the Eagles will win. But this is every year the Cowboys get hype. We have a blowout win. But I just don't want your expectations to be too high, in the playoffs. I'm not talking about this game. For this game, I think it'll be a dogfight. I'll just reiterate a lot of what Jonathan said. I'll only add that the Eagles have managed to win these close games if they come down to it in a lot of ways. But one of the Achilles' heels is our defense pass game, which the Cowboys are really good at. Mm-hmm. So we win the games, and that's the most important stat in my opinion. Because then you look at all these other statisticians, and it's they're this, they're that, but ultimately it's W's and L's. And the Eagles won the couple of games where the pass yards are crazy, but our defense against the pass has not been the best. So I could definitely see the Cowboys, with how strong their game has been in that regard, doing really well, because Pollard's really good, but the way McCaffrey was used with the 49ers, you might see flashes of that with the Cowboys, but not to that extent of McCaffrey. But Pollard can do it too. But the way Dak's been playing, I expect a very high aerial attack. I think it'll come down to possession mistakes, because it's a dogfight. If the Cowboys get up, I think they'll be doing checkdowns and runs up the middle of the bleed clock, and that's when the Eagles kind of have to get someone to show up. So I'm hoping the Eagles can correct some of their first half issues, but we'll see.
Yeah, honestly, I hate to say this, but the Eagles may be a little worn out. That's why you saw such a beating today. I don't know if it will carry over till this next week, but
yeah, that's the only worry.
It's not crazy to say that. Yeah,
I'd give the Cowboys the edge because of that.
What do you think?
I'd expect the Cowboys to win, honestly.
You think the line is out
for the offensive line, or you mean
no? Come on, Caleb, we're betting people.
Cowboys are favored by 3.
I didn't want to. Yeah, okay.
Oh, only I thought it would be a little bit more.
Because of the stats, though, I will say, because of how defense sometimes gives up a lot of yards, but you can still win games like that.
So they expect it to be close. What was the line? The line for the 49ers was -3. So.
Well, it's important to mention. I'll give a shout out. They showed some of it, but Lane Johnson against Bosa, it was incredible. Bosa definitely got pressure on some, but Lane Johnson's maybe the best, one of the top 2, 3 in the NFL. What he does, and there was a move where Bosa spun to the inside, and then Lane Johnson countered with a spin, and still got pressure to Hurts. But I just never seen an offensive lineman do his own move to get back with the guy. It was actually a really fun battle to watch. And I mentioned this to give props to Lane Johnson. and the whole offensive line. I mean, there's not enough to be said about each one of them on the Eagles. But they mentioned a stat in QB pressures that I think Nick Bosa's second, and number 1 is Parsons. So could be another fight next week. So kind of this is part of the game. I mean, this is at the end, towards the end of the season, every player's banged up, hurt, and again, this stretch of games has been really intense with the Eagles. So I think that does play a factor, but ultimately it's football. I bring up the 49ers one because it's such a big gap and different intensity. I was actually, because Jonathan, you mentioned it, I thought it was really interesting because I was like, when was the last time the 49ers had a close game? And I was looking at the weeks. The last time it was like a 1-score game was when they lost to Minnesota in week 7. And then before that, the last time it was 1-score game was week 2. Outside of that, and the 2 losses, well, I mean, I guess Cleveland as well was 1917. But everything else, all the other games have been over 2 scores, which is interesting. There's like which is, again, it's an interesting debate where it's like on statistics, yeah, they're a really good team, but well, I don't know. I thought that was crazy. It's just like if they win, they win big. The close games, it's up to a gamble, but I don't know.
If I remember correctly, I think the 49ers have like a coast schedule coming up. Because I think when you were saying like, oh, the 49ers are going to win out, I think the only game that we circled where they could lose was the Eagles. And then everything else we felt that they were going to commandly win.
I can tell you. They got Seattle, Arizona, Baltimore, Washington, and Los Angeles.
So Baltimore would be the only question mark, but I think they dominate them, honestly.
Washington I would have, but then they gave away their defense, so I don't know.
So honestly, for the 49ers,
Rams could be.
49ers, I think possibly 1 loss, and then Eagles, I think possibly 1 loss with the Cowboys. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Next week it's gonna be so much fun.
We got a lot to do.
Some great games going on next week. Can't wait. One last game that we got to talk about: the Houston Texans finally end the Denver Broncos 5-game winning streak. They defeat the Broncos 22-17 in Houston. Now, John, we posted a TikTok and we had rankings 3 weeks ago, and they were saying, oh my God, how could you put Russell Wilson in buns? How could you do that? You must not know ball. You're a casual. And then, as the winning streak goes on, you double down for sure, and you say, no, they're not good. They do suck. Come back to me after this road stretch, the first one against Houston, and John, I don't know if you're ready for these stats. You're sitting down, so 186 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 1, 2, and 3 interceptions, including an interception to end the game. Jimmy Ward had it in the end zone. So, wow. I mean, I don't even think he's toasty buns. I think he's just buns now.
No, it's just buns. It's just regular old buns.
You guys. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of hate after that TikTok post because Jonathan was saying that Broncos are good. I was saying no, they still are bad, and I said, Jonathan, if they win 2 of the next 3, which are road games, then I'll agree with you. I'll say you're right. Broncos are good. So first test they lose, fail the test. Russ throws 3 interceptions, 2 by Stingley, 1 by Ward, and 1 to end the game. Not a great game by Russ, and this is what I'm talking about. I still don't trust this team. They could definitely still make the playoffs, but people were telling me I didn't know anything. People were telling me, "Oh, I'm a Giants fan. Makes sense. He's delusional. Doesn't know what he's talking about."
Nothing to do with anything.
That's
not even
fine.
a rival.
Not nothing. I literally have no thoughts about the Broncos one way or the other. I just don't think they're good.
You're just talking facts in your mind.
I'm no bias.
Yeah. You guys are overreacting. It was a close game. They had an opportunity to win. Let's not kid ourselves. This Texans.
It was only close because Tank Dell was out. If Tank Dell was in, oh gosh.
Okay. No,
you got lucky. Actually, Jonathan, you got lucky that it was close.
No. This Texans defense is good. Okay, their head coach is defensive minded. No.
They aren't the greatest.
They are. They are playoff contenders.
They let up 37 points to the Buccaneers.
That's fine.
They played good today.
That's fine. Let's up 37 to the Bucs.
They played good today. So Russell Wilson, he's not buns. He's still a good guy. He's still a great quarterback. So he's not in buns, and all the fans will agree with me. There's one thing. That's the one topic they all agree with me. Yes, he's not in buns.
You're gonna hold on to it.
This is
Hold on to this. Yes,
the one
this
thing.
This one time to shine. All right. So the Texans defense, they played really good today. So let's not put it all on Russell Wilson. Yes, 3 interceptions is a lot, but they had an opportunity to win at the end, and it's just a great defense. You saw the end of the game that there was nowhere to throw the ball. He tried to squeeze it in the last play, and it was an interception. Great defensive scheme by Coach DeMeco Ryans. Okay, you could have expected this. He knows how to stop teams like this, teams that especially have been on hot streaks like the Broncos. Right? There's always that weakness. They started off the year kind of shaky. All those teams they played afterwards should have looked at those 5 games and noted the weaknesses, and that's what DeMeco Ryans did. And so I think it was just a great defensive game by the Texans. And so let's not chastise Russell Wilson just on one game like this. They still have a good season. The season's still young. But you saw a playoff contender today against in the Texans. Okay, let's be honest. They're a playoff team. They're good. So it's not. Yes, they lost, but they'll probably beat the Chargers. And who else they play? They'll probably
play the Lions.
The Lions,
Chargers,
okay.
And then Lions.
Okay,
Texans
they'll beat the Chargers. We know that. But in terms of the
You
Lions,
better beat. Yeah, honestly, you should beat the Chargers. Chargers are so bad.
Yeah, they'll beat the Chargers.
6-0.
The Lions could lose that game. Okay, the Lions could lose that game.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean,
Which
I was
game?
about to say
the Broncos?
I want to.
Yeah.
Lions or Broncos? Who are you talking about?
The Lions could lose to the Broncos. Yes.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Lions could lose to the
Well,
Broncos. Okay.
I'm with Jonathan on this one, not to steal your crowd or anything, but a Russ back to his old ways is still something to be feared. I didn't see that earlier. I still don't 100%. I was watching this game with John's words ringing in my ear that it's a big deal that it's an away game, against a good team. And one thing, and I even have him as a kicker in our league, but the Broncos kicker, I put him in because often, like the Broncos average, this is the caveat, which is why I think they lose, is they score around 20 points. Like it's 20 to 25, which is winning them games, sure, and that's ultimately what matters. They have some outliers too, but I bet if you took the average, it'd be around 20, 25, and they just don't score a lot. So it's kind of a problem when you get to it. But you look at a team like the Texans, and I don't mean to cut into your time at all, Jonathan, but the Texans are they remind me a little bit of how the Lions play on offense, but with a defense that's better. If that makes sense. It's what it feels like.
I was just looking at the Lions defense because that was one of the games that I forgot that we were going to mention. But dude, I mean, Houston has these they're so inconsistent. Like they could either give up a crap ton to the Bucks, but then hold the Broncos who are on a 5-game win streak to 17. But then the Lions, I feel like, are consistently giving up big points. I was just looking.
Right.
Their last 3 games, their defense has let up the second most points, 31 points per game for Detroit. So when you look at Houston actually it's inconsistent, but at least you have those inconsistencies of
Your
good
floor
games.
is lower.
Detroit,
The Lions' floor is higher.
Yeah, so what happens is CJ Stroud didn't have the greatest game, 274 yards and a touchdown. So but they still won.
Yeah.
And so it seems like with Houston that with DeMeco Ryans, it's like he can flip it on. I don't really know how to explain it, whether it's the defense or whether it's CJ Stroud not playing well, but they somehow can clutch out these games. And I think that is amazing trait to have in a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. They somehow can pull out these close games. But with the Lions, it was just an interesting stat that I found that, their defense is a huge issue coming into the playoffs.
It's what we said last year, and it's kind of what we're seeing with Stroud having like an MVP-esque season almost. I mean, not almost. He is. It's just who knows where it's going to go. But last year, and I think even the year before, were like the Lions' offense scores so many points, they'd win more games if their defense was a little better. And now it's a little better, but I think that's why we've said a few weeks ago, like they lose weird games, the Lions do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of it. Like, I don't think they've improved their defense as much. Whereas you look at a team like the Texans that have great offense, but DeMeco Ryans is a defensive player in his career, and their defense is, put up fights last year, and you're seeing the fruit of that. Maybe more ideal of a balance than you see with the Lions. So, and I that's why I don't think you give credit to the whole team, but with the Broncos, it's like it might. They have a good defense too to be able to win games around 20 to 25 points. And if Russ doesn't turn it over, he gets back to his basics wherever they are, then yeah, I think over time you might see that they're more than buns. But buns can be good, like Hawaiian rolls,
Toasty buttered up.
Yeah. We said this in the tier. Like sometimes that's what you need before the buffet. So if he gets back to himself, yeah, he's a guy to be feared. But who could look at the Broncos fundamentally with their offense getting 20 to 25 and say they're going to be able to run it deep into the playoffs,
and
the
like
way the Texans will.
And like John said last week, it's not like the Broncos were on a 5-game winning streak blowing everybody out. They barely won some of these games, and they were handed some of them too. So let's not act dominating. Let's not act like Russ was MVP. Russ, he wasn't. It's just the facts. It's just the facts.
You're just trying to recover. Y'all are just trying to recover the mistake that you made and putting him in buttons in the first place. Y'all still holding out.
Hey! It was a team effort. You were included in that.
No.
You weren't.
Oh,
we voted. You lost the vote, but he still passed.
He had to see. I knew you guys were gonna have he just had one little bad game. You guys are, ready to
one.
Come on.
Although we're in week 13. He had a bye week in 9. He's only had 8 games under 200 yards. Russell Wilson has
8 games passing. Under 200 yards passing. That's a lot.
Yeah. No, there's a ratio of
what?
Some of them.
That's insane. He's terrible.
No, some of them are
going.
wins though.
Keep going.
What else
can you find?
Keep talking, Caleb. I like this.
I haven't done my data analysis yet. No, I'm with. I don't want to be the middle just to be the middle, but numbers lie.
No, you're not the middle. You're more with
like
Jonathan on this.
I'm probably more of with Jonathan. But
at least Caleb is more on the Russ side because you just have hope that he can get back to prime.
Yeah. Well, he still won.
We all want it to happen. All want it to happen, but we just know that it's just not. I don't think it's possible. And this Broncos team just isn't good. Like
Wilson. Yeah, kind of building off that. If we were to put him in, we're not doing it anymore. But as a thought experiment, maybe more to Jonathan because you like him more. And I'm not as strong as you are in my hopes. I do want him to get back like Jared Goff. We all want players to play well. But is Russell Wilson a quarterback you build your franchise around for the next 3 to 5 years?
No.
3 to 5.
He's a franchise
guy?
No. Well, because that's what you think of when it's like the franchise quarterback,
not
right?
What you do.
He wouldn't even be around in 3 to 5 years in the NFL. He'd be gone. I think
even 2 years.
I honestly think if we were to redo that ranking with Russell Wilson,
double down.
I would maybe think about putting him all the way to the right of franchise, but that's it. That's it. I put Joshua Dobbs over that guy, and that's not really looking too hot. Maybe I'd take Dobbs down, put him in buns, and then
it was
put
one
Russell
bad
Wilson.
game.
No, Jonathan, 8.
You're quiet. You guys have been
under
quiet.
200
8
yards.
under 200.
Patrick Mahomes would never.
No. You guys are being real quiet. You're real quiet over the past few weeks, several weeks when he's beating the Bills, when he's beating all these teams. Y'all real quiet.
No, I wasn't. I said
now all of a sudden he had one.
Lucky.
Whisper his success and broadcast his failures. That's what you guys are doing, and you know it. All the fans agree with me. Give him a chance. That was one game. They almost had the opportunity to win. That was a great Texans defense. Let's see how these next couple games go.
Yeah, I think the Broncos can still.
Honestly,
still he's contenders, though.
I think Russ is lucky. He's playing with the most dangerous red zone threat of all time. All he has to do is throw it up to the guy and he gets a touchdown.
5 touchdowns.
Well, it's a combined.
It's
not like it's a. Someone
he doesn't have to do anything. If anybody had Cortland Sutton, if Tim Boyle had Cortland Sutton, the Jets would win every game.
That's just now you're just trying to get us riled up.
Yeah, you guys trying to get out. No, that's Brock Purdy we're talking about here.
Oh, come on.
McCaffrey, Kittle.
Broncos.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. What do you think? How good do you think the 49ers would be if Russell Wilson was on the 49ers?
Oh, they would be good. Because they not only have the throwing threat.
I think they would suck. I think they'd suck.
Really?
No. They wouldn't only have the throwing threat.
He wouldn't know what to do. He would have no idea what to use.
He would use his feet. He could give it to Christian McCaffrey. He could throw it to Debo. He could throw it to Kittle. It would be unstoppable.
He doesn't know how to make decisions, though.
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. What do you mean? Come on, he's a Super Bowl.
That was all the
winner.
defense.
You're just trying to get him wrong.
That was the defense, Jonathan. You know it.
Years with Marshawn. Imagine him with McCaffrey.
Yeah, imagine him with McCaffrey.
Yeah, all you have to do is hand it off. Purdy can do that.
And that line.
But you're saying if Russell Wilson was there, then you add some scrambling. It's deep ball.
Dude,
threat.
his line
this
was-
offense doesn't work with scramble.
His line wasn't.
We've
Yeah,
seen Trey Lance.
pocket present.
his line wasn't that good when he was on Seahawks won the Super Bowl. He would always scramble. That's how he's good. He would scramble, make plays. He has actually
Right, he doesn't know what to do when he has a good line. He
It's
just
more
doesn't
tempered
know.
now. Like I saw some of the game, and he would get some of the try to go for third and long, run it. Could still do not as fast, but he has that ability to at least give you hope if the play collapses. But he's staying more in the pocket, like he's more tempered now. So if he gets to I don't know, he still got it.
I will say this as we wrap this up that next week, again, another big game. If the Broncos lose to the Chargers,
No,
you're
they're not
done.
gonna do that.
It's over.
They're not going to lose to the Chargers.
The conversation's over. You cannot come back from losing to Brandon Staley. You can't come back from that.
No, it's
Season's over.
That's
Cancel the
disrespectful.
parade. It's done. So we got 3 big games. We got Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Broncos, Chargers. A lot on the line next week.
Dang, Chargers got a
Can't
tough
wait.
schedule. Chargers got a tough schedule coming up. Because if we're Denver, if we're throwing it up, you got
It's
Denver,
not about
at this
Vegas,
point.
it's over. Chargers.
It's
is
about-
done. Doesn't
it's
even
about-
matter.
Kansas.
Yeah,
It's
Doesn't
about
even matter.
losing as
Staley
many
out.
games. Yeah, we got to lose as
You-
many
you
games
have a
as
stake-
possible.
Jared, you have a stake in this. You want
The
the
fact
Chargers
that-
to get.
I think he could be the first coach fired after a win because that was so embarrassing. 6
Honestly,
points.
yeah. With Herbert, Allen,
and I
Eckler,
w-
dude, that's
And I want to say that, yeah, those are all big names. Eckler looks like the second coming of Eddie Lacy.
14 carries for 18 yards.
Quentin Johnson's got bricks for hands. He's the worst rookie wide receiver by far. They showed a list. I'm going to put it up, and I'll send it to you guys. They showed a list of every receiver drafted after Quentin Johnson, and every one of them has more receiving yards than him. Every single one. He's got like 190 receiving yards. Easily the worst receiver. So, yes, the personnel does suck. But will it hurt if Staley wasn't there? No. Honestly, I think it might help. So, overall, the team just sucks. But Staley is the root of it. You have to what do they say? You got to pick the root out or something. You got to kill the head of the snake. He's the head of the snake. Just take him out, blow everything up. Anyway, that's my
Seems like a
little rant.
fine person, but
I don't even know if he's a good person. I haven't met him, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. I don't know. If we have the pleasure to have him on the pod after he gets fired, we can surely do that.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap this up. So since we're going to be going to the game, there won't be a Tuesday episode, so this will be the only episode for this week. And then we will be traveling on Friday. Hopefully, we'll be recording a podcast Saturday and try to get it out before the game. If not, you'll probably see us on social media. So make sure you go over to TikTok and Instagram at Dornbait Podcast. Sauce us a follow over on there. We're going to be pushing all our content there. And if you're going to the game, please shoot us a DM on Instagram. Shoot us a comment in the comments here. Let us know if you're going to the game. We'll try to meet up. We'll try and give you guys where we're sitting. And, we'll try and make it a great time. And so we're all super excited to go to this game. It's great to meet up in person, be out of our little boxes here because we just live in these little boxes. So it's great to see you guys. And we're going to have a lot of fun. Good content coming up and great games to look forward to. So as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we will see you guys next week.